All right, I had some scrap wood, so I had to make some tables. My latest project, I got, I believe, 500 Douglas fir seedlings. They're everywhere. They were given to me, a big bundle of them, and they were in pretty bad shape. They were kind of dried out. They were shipped bare root, and they were packaged for a while, and they started turning yellow. I'm trying to make them come back, but some are going to make it, some aren't. So I've been planting those. I'll show you in a minute, but this is all out of scrap wood. Here's my trees that I collect every year. These are birch trees right here. This is actually a couple mulberry trees in there. I got red oaks, pin oaks. I'm not sure what this one is here, but I've got white oaks here. And these are all blue oaks from Arizona. They've got to come in every year. And these trees are actually, I believe, 6 years old. But they can't take the cold weather, so I got to bring them in the house. It's an oak tree that you got to treat as a tropical plant. It's kind of funny, but it's a very, very slow growing tree, and it lasts 100 years. But yeah, I've been working all around here. Got a lot of projects going on. I just got this swing somebody gave me. So this is the birch tree that supplies all my seedlings, and I'm going to connect it onto this big branch right here. But I need like 30 feet of chain to reach it. I've got lower branches, but they just don't seem like they're just too horizontal, sticking straight out too much, and they're not quite thick enough. I'm kind of liking this one right here, but it goes on this upward angle. So this chain on this side is 20 feet tall, and this is only going to be 12 foot tall because it's close to the tree right here. But the other side's way up there. So, but I want to get that put in. This nice paper birch tree, one of the biggest paper birches you'll ever see, is right here. And that's the mother of these little babies right here. But all my little trees, people take them as they need them. I just plant them every time. I collect acorns and all, and just put them in pots and all around the place, and people will take them whenever they need them. Here are some more of the Douglas fir. Everywhere I could plant them, I stuck them in places. Now these ones are actually in dirt, so they look like they're coming up a little bit better. There's one milkweed planted there. I didn't mess with it. I left it alone. Over here is blackberry bushes, and I planted these a while ago, and then I transplanted them to another spot and transplanted them again, and eventually they made their way right up here to the deck so that you can pick them before the birds get them. You got to keep your eye on them. As soon as they're ready to go, the birds will take them, eat them all. The birds will just destroy them. But back over here, the honeysuckle, something's going on with my honeysuckle. It's thinning out. I don't know if because we didn't have rain for a while or what, but usually this is so thick you can't see it. And this one's got yellow in here too. So I don't know if it's drying up or something's going on, but the ferns all around it are beautiful. Look at these ferns. Wow. I think these are ostrich ferns. And they got hit with some water last night, so they're kind of like leaning over. They're still trying to dry out. And over here, we've got periwinkle. This is a type of ivy, very invasive, so you got to be careful. It's periwinkle. It does have little flowers that come out, which are pretty nice. But we usually plant, look at the dogs walking right through it. But we usually plant flowers here, constantly putting new flowers in, spending money and watering them, and just don't have time to mess with it as much anymore with the yard. So just the type of ground cover that'll flow over the rocks is looking good. Some people call that myrtle, which is kind of funny because in the middle of all this is crepe myrtle. These tall trees here will have pink flowers on them. And here's a perennial. I think that's a type of carnation. We planted that a couple years ago, and it comes back up on its own. But you can see how, now this periwinkle, this ground cover, we just put in the end of last year, I believe. And it's very invasive. So wherever it touches, I weed whack it. I don't want it to go anywhere but there, because people say it'll take over everything. So, but I don't think it climbs up. It's just the ground covers, which is good. There's more carnations and a little patch of that periwinkle there. I don't know if it doesn't like sun or if it doesn't care, because up there shaded, and as you come down here it's more in the sun, so there's not too much of it up here. Over here to the garden, There's more Douglas fir. I'm telling you, I had to have 500 of these things. Now these are my actual tree pots, and I put one in. There's over 100 trees just right here. That's over 100. And Jim, my son, he took 50 of them and he planted 50 around his yard. And in those pots up there, there's a couple hundred more that I got to find something to do with before they die. And here's some milkweed. Now I put this milkweed in last year, and it's real finicky. If you mess with it, it dies. It'll die instantly, but the roots are still good, and it come back next year. So as long as it's got that runner root underneath, it sprouts up off of that main root. But I want this to be all milkweed right here, and this side was supposed to be milkweed too, but my trees, I got these trees, and I'm hoping they make it. And in the back, I'm going to put something. I don't know what I'm going to put in the back there. I'd like to do some kind of wildflower mix, because we don't really mess with a vegetable garden anymore. Just don't have time for it to mess around anymore. Let's see what we got going on over here. So up here is the wisteria vine. I already trimmed that twice this year, and it's growing. I got to hit it again because it's going to lean down everywhere. These are the red trumpet vines. I've really butchered them this winter, and they come back every year except for that one. I don't know what happened. It actually broke from the wind. You can see right there it snapped off, and I let a new shoot start over, and it started growing, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. I don't know what happened to it. Well, you can see this one here broke at one time in a storm right there, and a new shoot took over, and that's doing fine. But that middle one, I don't know what's going on with it. Up here to the wisteria, let's check this out. Something interesting here. Now, I don't know how old this is. I lost track of this. But this is the cheap way to do it without putting a roof on your back deck. If you're in the afternoon sun and you can't sit on your deck, and you can't afford a whole roofed enclosure or one of those awnings, you just plant a wisteria vine like this. That's what I did. Right in the floor. And it just grew up, and then the main runners just kind of like come out, and it's good because it drops all its leaves in the wintertime. The sun can come through here, and in the summertime it gives you shade. The only downside is you can see how messy the deck is. So when you come out here to sit, you will have to blow leaves. You're gonna have to blow it off before you come out here to sit on here. But let me show you. So at first, when I first planted this thing, it grew up in between the two rafters here, and it pushed out so hard. It was growing up in between. There's a 4x4 post in here, right here, and it twisted that post like a toothpick, and it's actually twisted 180 degrees from where it would be. So I had to disconnect it. So this 4x4 is just sitting in there on its own. It's not connected anymore. I had to cut this rafter off, and I had to put a new 4x4 next to it. And eventually I'm going to build a box around this right here, because I don't want it to grow out anymore. It got the room it needed, but you could see how thick it wanted to grow out. But this is, I don't know, I'm going to say somewhere between 10 or 15-year-old plant here. And it gets those purple grape looking flowers that hang off of it, which is pretty nice. But you can see how it's trimmed. I have to trim the hanging branches. And all along the edges of the roof, I trim and leave it opened. And you can see there's some up there I got to trim. So there, and along the house side, like right here, I got to run the hedge trimmer straight down, because what you want is the airflow to come underneath here and be able to heat in the summer, to be able to go up and out. But it's so nice and cool under here. There's probably 3 bird nests underneath here right now. Here's one right here. That's a robin right there. Right there. She flies every time we come up on the deck and sits over there and waits for us to leave. and comes back. What else can we check out? This is one of the cool things about this time of year. Everything that you planted, you get to see the fruits of your labor, what's working, what's not working. We head back here to the back. Now, a few videos ago, I trimmed up all those trees in the back here. I mean, really trimmed them up. I cut half the branches off these things. Now, these are white oak trees and beech trees. And I was worried. I was worried that I took too much off of these things. But heck, perfect. Perfect job on these things. This one's a little flimsy. It's growing so straight and so fast. But look at this. Are you kidding me? That's $1 million tree right there. Look at these white oak trees. And I got to do some weeding. I got to do some weeding around the bottom of them. I don't want to use a weed whacker, so I'll just get a little hand trimmer. Here's the little beech trees. There are big beech trees right here. But all of them are, everything's looking good. Back here. Plenty of leaves, nice dark green. They're kind of leaning, but they'll toughen up. You can see all the cuts I did on this one here and how nice and sturdy that is. They'll straighten themselves back up. Especially this one here. He's just growing so fast. He'll be all right. Let's check out these fruit trees. Another video I put out not too long ago. Well, no, I don't think I filmed it this year. I did it last year, but I didn't film me actually cutting them this year. Here's more blackberries right here that are up on the deck. There's a patch over here. I keep cutting them down with the mower, and like right there, there's just new shoots will just pop up. And that's another thing. I put them in pots, and people want a blackberry bush, they can have it. Look at all the apples on this tree. This is the first year for this tree to have fruit. And I have no idea what it is. It's an apple tree, but I don't know what kind it is. Somebody give me this one. And I planted it, and it was in rough shape, and it likes its home right here. Now I think this is a gala. Got apples on this one. And it's got white spots on it because I sprayed it. I sprayed it with some kind of bug killer. If not, this thing gets taken over by Japanese beetles. Japanese beetles will be all over this. This is a Granny Smith and no apples this year. This tree looks the best it's been since it's been out here as far as growth. But this year, just no apples. It had flowers on it, but no apples. I think this is a pink lady. I'm not sure. And again, this is just beautiful, beautiful tree. The trimming I'm doing is working. It's a constant work in progress, though, to get the tree to shape that you want so you can walk around and pick everything. And here's two moon glow pear trees, and these things love it here. There are so many pears on this tree. They're just everywhere. This is going to be loaded, and that guy right there jumps up and eats the pears off of this tree. I'll put a clip in where the dog jumps up, and if I can find it, he sits underneath here and just stares at the tree and the pears. And when he finds what, like this one here, if he sees this here, that's his. That's got his name all over it, this branch. He'll be able to reach it. He's looking. but that's doing good too. Now here's some hemlock trees with a problem. I sprayed these twice, and this is the disease. Well, not a disease, it's actual bug. This white stuff on here is a woolly aphid. It attacks these trees in particular, hemlock trees. Look at it, it's like snow. It looks like snow on your tree. And what it does is it sucks the life right out of the branch, and it'll go from a nice green to a darker green, gray, and yellow, and eventually just kill it. And I sprayed this tree twice with chemical, and then it's all the way up the tree. Man, I'm gonna have to hit it again and again. But this is one of the bugs that destroy the forest here in Pennsylvania. Look at all this. Woolly aphid will kill these hemlock trees. It's the one thing that takes them out. So you got to stay on top of it. It'll destroy a whole forest. These stupid bugs. I don't know where we get this crap from. Stink bugs, lantern bugs, or whatever they're called. This crap. Everything comes here and destroys everything. All right, that's it. Just playing around the house, checking on everything. Some things look good, some things not so much. We'll stay on top of it.